All right, here we go is 6th grade Excel, lesson number 46. We're going to be looking at converting mixed numbers to decimal numbers by setting up equivalent fractions. This is all stuff that you've learned to do before, only we're going to combine it together into one problem. It's easy to convert a mixed number to a decimal number if the denominator of the fraction portion is in tenths or hundredths. So in other words, this, remember, is a mixed number. Talked about this several times before. It's mixed because it has a whole number and a fraction. So a mixed number that has a denominator like 10, 2 and 4/10 is equal to 2.4. Or 2 and 17/100 because the denominator is 100 is 2 and 17/100. Remember that numbers after the decimal point are all going to be numbers that have the denominator of them. You're going to be 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. All these denominators for everything over here is going to be a 1 with some zeros. So, or what's called a power of 10. So 17/100, that's really easy to change it to a decimal. And 2 and 7/100 is 2.07. Notice the 0 in there. This is not 2.7. That's wrong because that's 2 and 7/10. This says 2 and 7/100. So the 7 is moved over 1 and there's a 0 holding the empty place. So these problems are all real simple and basically review. But what happens if the denominator is not in tenths or hundredths? One way to convert a mixed number to a decimal is to set up equivalent fractions. In other words, changing this fraction into a fraction that has tenths or hundredths first, and then it becomes a simple problem. So here they show you that 1/2 we can try to change into tenths, and 2 does go into 10 by multiplying by 5. So since we multiply the denominator by 5, we multiply the numerator by 5, and we get 5/10. And most of you already know that 1/2 is equal to 5/10. So 2.5, is equal to 2.5 because it's equal to 2 and 5/10, which is the same thing, just written a different way as a decimal right there. All right, let's do a couple of these problems together. 3 and 1/4. Is it possible to set up equivalent fractions with fourths and tenths? So what they did is they took the 1/4 and they said, can we change this into tenths? 4 times something equals 10. Well, not really. I mean, 4 times 2.5 is 10, but not any whole numbers. It's not a real simple problem. And so then we try, since it doesn't go into tenths, we try it with hundredths. 4 times something is 100? Yes, 4 times 25 is 100. 4 quarters in a dollar, right? And so you multiply the numerator by 25 as well. 1 times 25 is 25. So 3 and 1/4 is the same thing as 3 and 25/100, and there's your 25/100 right there. All right, number 3, get ready to write. We're going to do this one together. 6 and 1/5, changing that into a decimal. We don't have fifths in decimals, only tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and so on. So what we're going to do is down below here, everybody write 1/5 before that equal sign. All right? Now after the equal sign, we want to put a fraction bar, and then we're going to start with the number 10 to see if we can change 5 into 10. Can we go from 5 to 10? Yes, we can. So everybody write times 2, and then write times 2 up here. 1 times 2 is 2. So 1/5 is equal to 2/10. Therefore, 6 and 1/5 is equal to 6.2. 0.2 means 2/10. All right, why don't you go ahead and try number 4 on your own. Pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready for the solution. All right, you should have written 3/50ths down here. And then you think tenths. Could I go to tenths? Well, yes, I could. 50 divided by 5 is 10. Right? We can divide. Okay, but 3 divided by 5. Are you really going to do 3 divided by 5? Well, that's not really going to work because 5 doesn't even go into 3 one time. So let's change this to hundredths. Can 50 go into hundredths? Yes, obviously it can. 3 times 2 is 100. 50 times 2 is 100. So 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So 3/50ths is equal to 6/100. So we'd say that this is 3. Don't forget the whole number there now. 3.6, oh, no, not 6, 3.06. 3.6 is 6/10. 3.06 is 6/100ths. All right, let's go to number 5 now. Pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready to see the solution. Okay, you should have written 3/4 here. And then we go over here and we write tenths first. Can we go from 4 to 10? Well, no, just like that problem number 2, that's can't really do that evenly, right, with whole numbers. So let's stick another 0 on there. Can we go from 4 to 100? Yeah, we saw that back in, I believe it was number 2 as well. We do 4 times 25 is 100, 4 quarters and $1. And then multiply 3 times 25 as well and get 75. So 3/4 is equal to 75/100ths. So 1 3/4 is equal to 1.75. Notice where that came from. All right, hopefully you got this at this point, so I'm going to have you pause the video, do 6, 7, and 8. Turn the video back on when you're ready to see the solutions to all 3 of those. All right, for these again, you write 3/25 down here, and then we're going to first try to go to tenths. Can we go from 25 to 10? No, so let's put another 0 on. 25 to 100, yes. 25 times 4, 3 times 4 is 12, so this is 3.12, 3 and 12/100ths. Here's 12/20ths. Can we change 20 to 10? Yes, we can. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Can we divide 12 by 2? Oh, yes, we can. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Now, I bet some of you change this into hundredths, and you're going to basically get the same answer that I'm going to get, but this is a way that probably makes a little bit more sense. 3.6. Now, if you change it into hundredths, you got 3.60. But if you're smart enough at your math, you know that 0 is meaningless out there. The zeros have to be sandwiched in between the decimal point and some other number. You can't have zeros dangling out on the sides like this. Those are meaningless. Any zeros out here are meaningless. So 3.6 is my answer. 4/5 on this last one. Can we change fifths into tenths? Yes, times 2 times 2, 8/10. And so this is 3.8. All right, I believe that's it. So thanks for watching.